Here's a song you may have seen me demonstrate on another one of my videos. It's by Taylor Swift. It's called Our Song. It's a very, very simple song. There are only 4 chords in the entire song. And once you learn those chords and one strumming pattern, you've pretty much got the entire song down, with the exception of the intro, which, if you want to play that in a more authentic way, you can combine the banjo part and a very rudimentary bass part to good effect. It's a little bit more difficult than the rest of the song. So we'll start with, how do you play most of the song? Here are the 4 chords you need to know. The first chord is going to be a D chord of some kind, the open D string, index finger, 2nd fret on the G string, ring finger, 3rd fret on the B string, and the high E string open. Okay? And here's the key to these 4 chords. Your ring finger is going to stay right where it is now, on the 3rd fret on the B string. That's going to be your anchor to keep your hand in the correct position. That is anchoring your hand by moving as few fingers as possible and keeping fingers down in the same spot from chord to chord whenever you can, is one of the most important things in playing chords, period. Okay? So here's the first chord. The second chord, you're going to keep that ring finger there. Your index finger is going to come down and play the 2nd fret on the A string. Okay, so now you have those 2 fingers. And what you're going to do is, some of you, if you have smaller hands, will find that you kind of have to do this anyway, but your index finger is going to lean, it's going to flatten out just enough to lean back against the D string. So you're playing the A string, your finger's kind of leaning back and muting the D string. Okay, so now you're only fingering these 2 notes, and your finger is muting the D string, and you just strum all the strings open. Okay, so you're hearing. Okay, that's the 2nd chord. The 3rd chord is a G chord. So you can keep your index finger and your ring finger exactly where they are if you want to, and you're just going to add your middle finger on the 3rd fret on the low E string. Okay, and you're not going to play the high E string. Okay? So you're playing everything but the high E string. And then the last chord is an A chord. You can either play a traditional A chord, or if you want to, you can still keep your ring finger where it is. Okay, you're trying to make it as easy as possible while still being authentic. So you can keep your ring finger where it is, and now you're just going to play, 2 notes with your index finger. The 2nd fret on the D string, and then you're just going to flatten your finger out so you can play the 2nd fret on the G string as well. Okay, and then your ring finger is back where it was. So you're just skipping the low E string. You're not going to play the low E string. Okay, so open A, 2, 2, 3, open. Okay, so now all together, and I'll show you the strumming pattern in just 1 second. You have this first chord, 2nd chord, 3rd chord, 4th chord. Okay, so with the strumming pattern, you have this, and then I'll describe it to you. Okay, now what's happening for the strumming pattern is, basically, generally speaking, you can break it down like this. You take the fleshy part of your hand, of your right hand, okay, and you're leaning it, really all of this part, your palm, and you're leaning it, just slightly resting it against all of the strings. Okay, so it's anchoring your hand and you're pivoting on your palm. Okay, I'm just doing this so you can see better what I'm doing. Okay, so you're going to do, with it muted, 2 down, and then 1 regular strum, okay, and then 1 quick back upward strum. And then you're back to muted, muted, open, up, muted, muted, open, up, muted, muted, open, up. So, muted, muted, open, up, muted, muted, open. So quickly. Okay, and there are just a couple of little things that sort of add the flourishes to the song, which are, for example, in the verse you'll hear this. You'll hear that one little line when she says, heart. So all that is you're playing the first chord, second chord, the third chord, and then you hit the fourth chord once, and then I just use my index finger completely. You go 3rd fret on the D string, and you slide it down 2 frets to the 2nd fret, and then open D string. So here's the sort of A chord. You strum, strum, 4, 2, open. So okay, and that's basically the only little flourish in the song. Otherwise, you just take the 4 chords we talked about and they just come in different orders. And that's it. So here is the intro, which is the more complicated part. You have 2 parts to put together. The first part is the banjo part. And that's the part that's doing most of the stuff. So here is how that goes. We're basically outlining a D chord here, okay? So you start with your index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, okay? And you hammer on to the 4th fret on the G string with your ring finger. So you don't pick that note. The force of your ring finger coming down is what makes the note sound. Okay? And then you go to the 3rd fret on the B string with your middle finger. Then the 2nd fret on the high E string with your index finger. And then open E, back to the 2nd fret on the E string, and then for this you're going to go back to the open E again, but you're going to do that by pulling your index finger off.